Scheduled meeting of the Elmhurst City Council. I'd like to ask you all to rise and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Deuter.
Here.
Sabatino.
Here.
Leader.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
Graham.
Here.
Kolumski, absent. York, absent. Toledo, absent. Healy, absent. Levin.
Here.
Kennedy.
Here.
Conquest.
Here.
Wagner.
Here.
Mulliner.
Here.
12 present, 4 absent.
10 present, 4 absent.
That's right, 10 present, 4 absent. I don't know where I got that from. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Is there any written communication from the public that they'd like to present to the clerk at this time? Please bring it forward and present it to the clerk. Thank you. That material will be copied and presented to the City Council in the next meeting. This is the time we have our public comment. Public comment is an opportunity for the public to address anything to the City Council that they would like to. Our standard procedure is 3 minutes for each individual. We ask that you have signed in ahead of time. If not, we'll give you an opportunity after we're done. Clerk Spencer, has anyone signed in?
Yes, we'll start with Claude Pagash, 566 West Gladys.
Please state your name and 3 minutes after you've stated your name. Thank you.
My name is Claude Pagash, 566 West Gladys. I had the opportunity to go in the last meeting on so-called retention. It's a sad state of affairs when the people that are there to discuss something haven't even got the paperwork of what they're going to discuss, so they have no idea what they're going to discuss, and you try to carry on a meeting. With that in mind, I started thinking about a few things. I got a force main and a tank going in at and that's over budget. I got a parking garage going in, and that's costing me millions. I got the money pit, often referred to as Han, was told it isn't worth anything, and I'm gonna dump more millions into that. I got a water system that leaks like a sieve. And I pick up the paper after all of that and say to myself, sports facility? What are they drinking down at City Hall? The mayor tells me there's no land here because we're an older city. But we're gonna hire somebody to tell us where to put in a sports facility. How many millions is it gonna cost for this retention? And don't give me an estimate, because none of the estimates that ever came out of this town ever paid off. So now a sports facility. How about we just take care of the problems we have? We got this town at flood. It's been flooding for 100 years. I didn't need the parking garage. I didn't have to spend the millions on Han. And now somebody wants to spend millions on a sports facility. Go down Grand Avenue, get to County Line Road, go up about 2 miles, and you'll run into a fantastic sports facilities. It's even got an indoor ice rink, and a sleek ball diamond, and a softball diamond, and a track, and I don't have to spend millions on it. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, when this retention comes up, all you got is some artist drawings and no set of plans. That's some more millions you're gonna put up to Burke for final designs, and then you gotta go back to these people you're dealing with, and they're gonna start modifying them. And then it's gonna cost me some extra millions. So stop this, will you? Take care of the needs and forget about these wishes and dreams of this council.
15 seconds.
There's a finite amount of money out there, gentlemen. And I even hate to see what the new budget is going to look like starting in October.
Thank you.
Michael Cremery, 570 Crockett.
Michael Cremery, 570 West Crockett. A month ago, on July 6th, documentation was provided to the City Council concerning sidewalk cafes not providing the required 5 feet of pedestrian walkway. As of today, the violations remain. Documentation has been provided with the receipt of written communication from the public tonight. With fines of $25 per day, how much total money has the city received for these violations? When will the violations be corrected? Or have the businesses simply calculated that the additional food sales revenue obtained from the extra seating space more than offsets the daily $25 fine issued by the city? Item number 2, back in June, a business was identified as having a sidewalk cafe without a City of Elmhurst sidewalk cafe permit application on file at City Hall. I will not justify the illegal behavior by providing the business name verbally here, but it is documented, again, in the written receipt communication that was provided. Quick review of the photos that were taken of the illegal sidewalk cafe. June 14th, sidewalk cafe, chair, tables. July 6th, July 14th, chair, tables, also an illegal A-frame sign. July 26th, chair, tables. Just so happens my dry cleaners is very close to that establishment. And one last example, to ensure that there are not any Photoshop adjustments or incorrect dates being recorded. Many of you participate in frequent flyer programs, which include several ways to earn additional miles. United has a Mileage Dining Plus, and they send out monthly emails of local restaurants where you can earn United miles. A web link provides the business hours and photos of the establishment. And what a surprise. The actual United Mileage Dining Plus website includes a photo of the establishment with their illegal sidewalk cafe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Paula Wolf.
Paula Wolf, 444 North Larch. I'm here with my sign again. It's smaller, but it still says a lot. And it's not just in my front yard, it's on our cars too, on my daughter's cars, on friends' cars. So it's not contained to just driving past a couple of, well, more than a couple, any number of houses in Elmhurst. It'll be seen outside of Elmhurst, and I don't understand how you can't be ashamed of this going on. I read somewhere that the population in Elmhurst seems to be going down rather than going up. I'd like to know if that's the case. Why are we allowing these lovely little homes to be torn down and these huge McMansions to be put up? Nobody's watching what they're doing to neighboring homes. And why do we need these huge houses if we don't have the same population? Why do we, as Claude said, why do we need this sports facility? We can't pay for a sewer system. That's a lot more important. We don't have a very good reputation, if you're not aware of that. And only you can be the ones that protect it. You want us to be known as a friendly family city with all the amenities. Well, we need to be able to get to and from our homes. We need to be able to use the entire home that we bought. We need to know that our fire department, police department can get to us. We need to know that we can get our children to and from school. And you're not doing that. There was a lovely letter in the Independent this week that was just totally insulting. It didn't speak of any of the problems we have, and maybe you want to call it complaining. I want to call it explaining what we're going through. I'm not the only one. You've heard it time and time again. And I think if everybody could go ahead and come to these meetings because they had no other obligations, they would. And the one other thing I'd like to know is, We don't have the money for the sewer system. You keep playing around with that year after year. Yet you can, I think I understand that there are certain things that are being funded by the city for all these developers, for water storage. You want to come to my house and put a retention pond in my
15 seconds.
backyard? I'd let you do it, just, grass it over. But yet our money, our tax money, is going to anybody who wants to come in and build up this town. But who wants to shop here if the streets are flooded? We're getting nowhere fast. And hopefully more and more papers are going to pick up this story, because that's what we need, because maybe then you will do something.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, last we have Kathleen Sullivan, 133 Pine.
Kathleen Sullivan, 133 Pine. There was a couple of things that happened, not in city council meetings this last couple of weeks, that drew interest to me. One was the article that Paula referenced that was in the Elmhurst Independent, and I wrote a letter to them, but I want it on the public record as well. I was disappointed in the opinion piece of Cabbages and Curmudgeons. While I value freedom of the press, the factual errors throughout this, quote, opinion, end quote, piece are appalling, and I hold the editors and the publisher accountable as the writer for publishing it. Let's start with the factual errors by watching 1 minute of the videotape of the meeting on July 9th. One could see that more than 18 residents were in attendance. For the record, tonight there's 25 at the meeting. It makes one wonder not only what else is wrong, but what the author and the editor's motivations were to print it. Is it to make people believe that by saying it is so, that it is true? Sorry, but that doesn't make it so. In my 45 years and plus in Elmhurst, the word community is something that has special meaning for me. I would never hope that any of my neighbors flood, let alone 1 in every 10, which is what the article talked about. That's unacceptable. In a community that values character counts, it's deplorable to see that the press has become central in providing the misinformation, especially in the light of the mayor's comments on June 22nd, trying instead to shed light and to provide facts when calling for transparency of open and frequent stormwater communications committee meetings. I encourage and call all Elmhurst residents to action yet again, to do everything in your power to implement the proposed solutions. Let's stop using our neighbors' homes as detention ponds. Let us improve safety for the Elmhurst residents. That's my letter to the Independent on the article. The other thing that was somewhat disturbing was in this room during the meeting on July 23rd. A leader of an organization that says that they're for citizens communicating and democracy actually asked us not to do public comment that night, not to tell our stories, not to do so. It's on the tape, you can watch it. It was appalling to me that that was done. Thank you.
Thank you.
That
Anyone else?
concludes public forum for those who signed in.
Does anyone like to make a comment who did not have an opportunity to sign in? Yes.
Patty Ilg, 493 Alexander. A couple meetings ago, I had asked about property, city-owned property that's not being used, specifically the easement behind my property. Ironically, in the last week, I have property next door to me, new construction next door that's for sale. During open houses, realtors and potential buyers are coming when they see me outside and asking about that empty easement behind there and who owns it. I'm not gonna lie. They're asking me, is it maintained? Because it's not. It's overgrown by weeds. It's an eyesore, quite frankly. And for a price of $800,000 for that house next door, I wouldn't want to look at an eyesore either. They then asked me why I have sandbags stored in my backyard. I'm being honest with them. So, you know, again, I'm not complaining. I am urging you, please. I'm being honest with potential buyers and realtors next door, telling them that we flood, and that backyard floods. The new storage that was built, that's required now to be put in new construction, it doesn't work. It floods. The easement back there with the sewage, or the storage that was put in the back too, does not work. Nothing works. So I'm asking, please, could you take a look again at that unused property and use it to benefit us and to stop our flooding in our neighborhood? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment? Seeing none, that closes our public forum, our time during this meeting. Any announcements? Does anyone in the dais have any announcements that they would like to make? Alderman Kennedy?
Thank you, Mr. Mulliner, Alderman Mulliner. Just want to highlight to everybody, the next meeting of the Stormwater Communications Committee is a week from Thursday, August 13th, in this room. I believe it's 7 o'clock, correct? Okay, just highlight that to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Seeing none, we'll go on to the consent agenda. Does anyone have anything they'd like to remove from the consent agenda? Alderman Bram.
6.20.
Anything else? Seeing none others, I'd like to ask for a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented, minus 6.20. Alderman Wagner and Alderman Honquist.
Okay, you want me to call the roll?
Call the roll, please.
Wagner.
Aye.
Honquist.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Sabatino.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Palumski, absent. York, absent. Toledo, absent. Healy, absent. Levin.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
10 ayes, 0 nays, 4 absent.
10 ayes, 0 nays, and 4 absent. The item passes. We have remaining is 6.20. That's an ordinance. City Clerk, could you read the title of the ordinance?
An ordinance approving various text amendments to the City of Elmhurst zoning ordinance.
Seeing that this is a DP&Z issue, I look for a motion. Moved by Alderman Levin, second by Alderman Honquist. Any discussion of this? Alderman Levin, would you like to speak to this before?
I don't think any additional comment is necessary at this time. Was discussed thoroughly last time. I assume Alderman Bram has some reason to pull it.
Thank you. Alderman Bram?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. And I won't go at length. We talked about this 2 weeks ago per the report. I don't think that the C4, C4A district should be allowing, and per these text amendment, proposed text amendment changes, would be allowing motor vehicle sales per quote, but display only. It doesn't match our comprehensive plan for the downtown area. I'm not sure why we're proposing a text amendment. Per discussion last time, when we were discussing the report on these text amendments, it was stated that, you know, some current business owners made the request. I don't think we should move forward with text amendments per request per individual business owners, but to see if it is appropriate moving forward. We make text amendment changes for long-term changes, not short-term visions of a current request that may or may not be applicable long-term. There's other things in here that I also believe are referencing either upcoming petitioner requests or something that's been discussed in the past, one of which is changing the way we count parking spaces at fueling stations with a mini-mart/convenience store. It's no shock to anyone that the old Stevens Steakhouse is being proposed to be replaced with a Thornton's with a convenience store. Again, I don't believe, I'm not making an accusation here, but I don't believe that we should be making these changes holistically from petitioner requests, but if it fits in the various zoning districts, and I don't believe both of the examples that I stated fit in either of those zoning districts. Thank you.
Thank you. Any follow-up? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Levin.
Aye.
Arnquist.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Sabatino.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Graham.
No.
Polemski absent. York absent. Toledo absent. Healy absent. Okay, where are we now? Kennedy.
Aye.
Okay, 9 ayes, 1 nay, and 4 absent.
9 ayes, 1 nay, 4 absent. The item passes. Move on to reports and recommendations. City Manager?
Thank you. I have just a few things. Just a reminder, I know that this was mentioned at previous meetings. The FAA is holding a number of open houses coming up next week to talk about the O'Hare modernization plan. There's a new airport commissioner, and she has been in the news recently in talking with 2 of the groups that are active around the airport. The FAA open houses, though, are to listen to resident feedback on the new runway that is to open on the south end of the airport. So there's 4 of them next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The closest one is on Wednesday, the 12th, and that's in Bensonville at Monty's Banquets on York Road. I will be going to that. I'm sure that I'll see some of the aldermen there as well. The other ones are in Niles, Chicago, and Elk Grove Village. We'll be posting the information on the city website tomorrow as far as where they are and time so that residents are aware of them. Excuse me. The other item that I have is to announce the neighborhood roll calls. This week on Tuesday, neighborhood roll call will be at Church and Kenmore, and on Thursday, it will be at Highview and Fremont, and those both start at 6 o'clock.
Thank you. Any other reports? Alderman Bram?
Yeah, I would just like to have a follow-up in regards to City Manager Grabowski's report on the O'Hare meetings. If you could please speak a little bit more in length in regards to the City of Elmhurst stance on the O'Hare modernization or the expansion of the runways, and also if you could please give an update on not the runway part of that project, but the roadway part of the project, if there has been any progress on that as well.
I'll start with the roadway portion, and I assume you're talking about the Elgin O'Hare Western Access.
Correct.
We continue to work with the engineering firm that Northlake and Elmhurst have contracted to work for the design of that, and what I'm referring to in particular is the exit ramp from I-294 onto County Line Road. So we continue to work with them and the business that's impacted where that will exit, and that's McMaster Car. So we continue to work on that. Regarding the city stance, when we are represented at SOC, and SOC has hired a number of experts to look at the flight patterns and the flight techniques, I'll call them. That's about as technical as I can get as far as flying goes. And they are expected to come up with some ideas that we can present to the FAA and to lawmakers on how planes can fly quieter and be better neighbors by Labor Day is when we're expected to see the information from the consultants, as I recall.
Follow-up?
Yes, sir, thank you. I guess my request would be that Elmhurst still take a stance, and how we have taken a stance as a member of SOC for probably close to 2 decades now, if not longer. And that is a stance of eliminating or getting as close to possible as eliminating the flight pattern over the city of Elmhurst. I know that in past years, the reason why Elmhurst was pro the expansion was because the runways were going east-west and therefore would pretty much eliminate the air traffic and the air noise and air pollution over the city of Elmhurst. And I believe that my residents who have spoken to me, which has been only a handful, but they have made it clear to me that the position should remain the same of making sure that Elmhurst does not negotiate from a standpoint of allowing flights to continue over the city of Elmhurst, but taking the stance of no more flights over the city of Elmhurst, unless emergency situations, of course, because we have suffered long enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a follow-up comment on that from myself, being involved in it for as long as I have been, I would make a similar statement. I would hope that when we get the data back from SOC, we would, as a council, make a decision to put forth a resolution, whether supporting or not supporting whatever SOC comes back with, because I think that's the best approach we could take. So, any other announcements or reports? Okay. Item 8, we're pulling. It's going back because there's some additional information that we have to put together, so we should see that in a few weeks. Last, other business, item 9. Any other business? Seeing no other business, I look for a motion for adjournment. Alderman Wagner, Alderman Kennedy. All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.